one, the ultimate spirit of man, as well as it represented the ultimate spirit of symbol of alchemy. We'll get into alchemy and what this thing is talking about in a few minutes. The Moors, in order to understand some of these things, we'll go to some disciplines first, then we'll go back to Khemet so you can understand. The Moors, which was a combination of priests that went up into went up into Europe. They had no really interest in Islam. They just understood that by these priests understanding that religion could be like a political system, they just united under one banner, Islam. But they were Khemet priests, ancient Kushite Arabian priests, which was the black element, which even Muhammad's father knew about. When we go into the Arab thing, we'll talk a little bit about that. And they went up into Europe and they introduced certain amount of these disciplines. What are these disciplines that we talk about? Ancient Egyptian spirituality. Well, you can find them now in the relationship in the esoteric field. And what white people have done is basically put a white face on all these disciplines. The Moors introduced the tarot cards. Now the tarot cards are literally picture windows of melanin and the frame of the soul. And from that, you can use divination for it. But divination is the secondary or the minor aspect where you can read the cards and find out a person's future by divining. But you could also do that with cowrie shells that the Africans, you see what I'm saying? And with pennies or anything else. So that's one aspect. But the major arcana and the minor arcana of the tarot cards in actuality is trying to explain the alchemical process of the soul as well as melanin. From your playing cards in the Moorish science, from your tarot cards in the Moorish science, you also get your playing cards. Because we hear all the stuff that the Moors introduced. We'll give you some stuff that they introduced that you don't know about, based on spiritual aspect. They introduced several aspects of alchemy into Europe. And they introduced mythology to go along with that, just like the Egyptian mythology went along with alchemy. Alchemy is taking the black substance and crystallizing it into a primordial light seed. The black substance starts off in Khemet as Osiris, or Osea, god of the perfect black. And from that black, the phoenix rises up from the ashes and his soul returns as his son, Horus, Heru, purified, light coming out of blackness. You see what I'm saying? Yang coming out of yin. The Moors travel up and they give you the whole Grail mythology, King Arthur and the Round Table, which is nothing but Osiris, and all of that, which later on the British faked and said it was British history, trying to claim royalty. I want to stick with this Moor thing right quick because it will explain some of the occult realms that you understand right now that go all the way back to Khemet. So your rune system, where they throw those little runes and they got those things as a form of divination, that comes out of Khemet by way of the Moors. Several magical texts that you see in Europe. Your Goetia system, the greater key of Solomon, the lesser key of Solomon. One is dealing with astronomy and astrology. Another one is dealing with the inner components of the mind and of your body. All types of magical texts. Now what happened is these texts was a major part. Your Kabbalah, your Zohar, which is your Kabbalistic system. All that came from the temple of Kom Ombo and Khemet to the Later on, ended up in Spain and given to the converted Jews, which is the Europeans. And then they cultivated and tried to claim it's their own. You see what I'm saying? So your Zohar is first introduced into Spain, which is the Kabbalah, which basically your Lubavitcher Jews use also too. If you want to get a sense on what they deal with, you go get the movie, this movie called A Stranger Among Us with Melanie Griffith, and just notice what all that about your Lubavitcher Jews is up here wearing the black. They study the Kabbalah. All kinds of magical texts. I mean, it's unbelievable. Just about all the metaphysical things you see in these bookstores. How did the white people able to get all this metaphysical stuff? They got it because they cultivated all this Moorish history, and basically those 16 universities that was left behind, the stuff that wasn't destroyed, the Europeans, it became the property of different secret societies. So they put in place secret societies. We talked about this in the last video. But this is interesting because we understand that the Moors put these secret societies in Europe because they understood that also Africa was deteriorating, it was old, and it had to go to sleep. But they raised the European up because look how what kind of devil he was with education.